Welcome back, Five Aces.
Hey people, Five Aces here, and this is Company of Heroes. Now, if you found your way into this video, there is a high probability that this is one of two scenarios. Either you know my channel already and you know myself as an extension, but you don't know Company of Heroes 2 yet. Or two, you know Company of Heroes 2 very well, but you don't me yet. In which case, I'm going to introduce myself. Name is Five Aces. I usually do RTS shoutcasts focused on OpenRA, which is an open source remake of Command & Conquer. But I've decided to branch out, and this is a game that I very much love, and I played actively, but not on a competitive level just yet. So I'm just really getting into it. So what you can expect here, I'm gonna know the groundworks of how Company of Heroes 2 works, but I don't know all the details and all the specifics, like all the top tier plays. That being said, I'm an avid RTS player and know my way around the battlefield. So that's not from a complete newcomer's perspective either. And yeah, I'm 33 years old and I've played lots of RTS in my time, especially coming from Command & Conquer, all sorts of Command & Conquer really, plus Warcraft 3. Those were my go-to RTS, so more on the micro side, I guess. And yeah, Company of Heroes 2 sort of fits the bill. Now, bear with me, because if you're not new to this channel and conversely you're new to Company of Heroes 2, there's a lot to unpack here. So, first off, we're going to start by introducing the players, and then we're going to go into what makes this game tick. So, Company of Heroes 2 is not a game where you destroy your opponent's base, at least not usually. It usually is a game that revolves around resource control. And what's happening here is those units that you're seeing, they need to hold ground. They need to basically capture those flags and hold them against the opponent, and those give you resources over time. For example, this point here gives you 3 fuel per minute and 5 munitions per minute. This point here, not visible right now. And also, the most important of your resources, those 3 points in the middle that are indicated on the minimap, let's increase that a little, with a star icon. Those are your victory points, and you need to, in order to win, you usually reduce your opponent's victory points to 0. Now, that being said, here are our players for the time. I'm gonna put the Fog of War off. So, we've got the northern side spawning as, okay, no, that's the regular Wehrmacht. It's gonna be Scotch. It's gonna be aided and supported by Van Asten as Oberkommando West. And they're gonna be matched up against the Allied forces, WS. WS in the form of TR Crossfire and NS Aerofield. I honestly haven't heard of the latter players, but the top players definitely, the top 2 players here, definitely Scotch and Van Asten, I've heard about. So there's a Wehrmacht sniper out, or is that an Austria sniper? Forgive me, that's gonna be a while. Anyway, so there's lots of, whoa. 3 Pathfinders, that is a very special build. That is a very special build indeed. They're all waiting in ambush. This is gonna be an ambush and a half. They're letting loose here, unleashing onto the Volksgrenadiers. So this is Volksgrenadiers, yeah, regular Grenadiers. Okay, so cover plays a vital role in this game. You basically always need to inch your way into cover, because if you're fighting in negative cover, you are gonna suffer tremendous losses. Oh my lord, those Grenadiers already getting ripped to shreds. Now here you see the retreat mechanic in action, and what that does is as soon as you press the T button, the enemy infantry are going to, your infantry are gonna scurry away, and they are gonna try and book it to the headquarters. From there on out, you lose control over that unit. You can no longer directly control them until they've arrived at the base, but conversely they gain a speed boost, plus they also gain a modifier to their received accuracy, so they're harder to hit. So retreat basically is a save your asses button. It's the way it works. So definitely, thus far, a very convincing win for the South here, with those Americans with the triple Pathfinder build. That is a very special one. But the sniper is gonna be starting to chip some shots into them and start laying into some of the Tommies. Let's see. My goodness, there's just so much firepower here. Ooh, this Pathfinder's super low. Okay. Sniper taking another shot, up to 5 kills already. And that is a really micro-intensive game. The sniper basically dies in 2 or 3 volleys. It's a very, very high investment. I think it costs 360 manpower or something crazy like that. The east end of the map, we're seeing TR Crossfire taking a bite-sized chunk out of that map and establishing field dominance here as well. So Team South, Team Double Americanos are looking pretty good for the time being. So here you can see the reinforced mechanic in action. Those units are very low in health now. This means some of those models, they each have their individual health pools. And unlike Command & Conquer, they don't die immediately. Ooh, there's a 50 cal has been called in. So this commander... I'm going with commanders in the upcoming couple casts, I guess, because there's just so much to unpack here. This commander apparently allows for the acquisition of airborne support weapon drops. That's pretty cool. Ooh, those rear echelon need to get the hell out of dodge. They're getting pummeled by some Volksgrenadiers. But some veterans is starting to appear here as well, and that's the third layer of Company of Heroes. Veterancy plays a critical role. This is... Ooh, what has prompted that fallback? That was just one Grenadier squad. Anyway, maybe it was a bad position. Maybe it was just a negative cover here. So yeah, fighting on roads and any such terrain gives you a tremendous disadvantage. So also, Oberkommando West have started with a Kübelwagen. That thing is not good in combat. It is basically a tin box for all intents and purposes. It's like a larger sized bread box, also in terms of durability, but it is super annoying for decapping points. It captures points, I think, faster than a regular infantry unit, and that makes it so obnoxious to deal with. If it's just kept behind the lines, it always just tries decapping your vital points. And that is really the big... Engagements don't matter if you can't capitalize off of them. If you win an engagement, but your units don't capture any ground and your opponent still holds more ground, you're still gonna be at a disadvantage. Ooh, that's a massive rifle blob from the Americans. Jeez Louise. That is a serious assault here. Yep, reverse mode for the Kübelwagen. It's on Veteran C2 now. That's gonna be pretty fun. Also, what's pretty hilarious, there are many competent RTS casters who cast Company of Heroes, and they're all really fun to watch, like Helping Hans and so many others. Ooh, and there's an MG34 here as well. And they are all really 10 times more competent than I am at this game, but most of them don't have German as their native tongue, as opposed to me, so that's kind of hilarious to always see them or hear them mispronounce and butcher German names, which is kind of fun. So yeah, Kübelwagen back for repairs. And a massive assault. Ooh, that is a... What is that thing called? M15A1 AA half-track. So that one's kind of weird because it is a flak cannon at the back. So I think you might want to have it face towards the rear. I think that's how you operate that vehicle. Yeah, those Pathfinders thus far, really looking strong. Triple Pathfinders up to 3 stars. Ooh, M15 starting to unload. Yeah, you're not getting past this. Basically, what Scotch needs here is an anti-tank resource. So with that said, we haven't even talked about suppression just yet. One of the most important things to keep infantry in check in this game is suppression. Ooh, the sniper taking a shot, but yeah. Up to veterancy 1 as well, 8 kills. Decent. Infantry are actually pretty strong bang for buck. The only thing that keeps them in check is the fact that they can get suppressed by team weapons. Like every faction has a basic machine gun crew, and if you get caught in arc of those machine gun crews, your infantry starts getting suppressed. And at first they start being slowed, and they can't use their units as far, can't use their abilities as much anymore. Like they get their range decreased, and then ultimately they get pinned eventually. And if they get pinned, they can't do shit anymore. They just sit there and sit in ducks, take some fire. That rifle blob is trying to lay into the Panzer II. Look, the Panzer II is not the strongest of tanks in terms of armor. It is a light tank after all, but it is impervious to rifle fire, as are all heavily armored vehicles. But the riflemen obviously do have access to anti-tank vehicle grenades, if they reach Veterancy 1, that is. Now, this is a Soviet-less game, which is something that is very, very weird for me, because I'm so much used to seeing Soviets, and I'm also playing them most of the time on the ladder. Because they're just a faction to my taste. Ubiquitous conscripts, run them around the map. They don't do much, but they're very utility focused and yeah, just basically drown your opponent in a flood of like in a human wave. Soviet tactics. And there's an interesting dynamic with Kübelwagen. Yeah, that Kübelwagen is toast. Kübel no more. There is now a standoff. Stun grenade goes off from the Sturm Pioneers. Sturm Pioneers need to get the hell out of dodge. They're running. I think they might be dead. Yeah, now in the negative cover. I think that... suppression comes out just in time, but can the rifle squad close the gap? That is incredibly close. Like, this is a super expensive squad. If this dies, that spells trouble. Escapes on a sliver of health, as does the Panzer II Lux. Wow, what a clutch engagement. You see, this is unlike... Yeah, Company of Heroes 2 is not like a Command and Conquer where there's phases of build-up and then phases of big engagements. It's non-stop action. There's been an indirect fire piece acquired here by the American player, who also has parked their ambulance in a super aggressive spot. Jeez. Okay, so the basics. Normal infantry cost you manpower only, and manpower is a resource that kind of is ubiquitous in the early game and then starts flatlining. It's the way it works. So, your infantry squads, you're best off preserving them. If you lose infantry squads, especially early game, you lose ground, and only infantry squads, save a few exceptions, can actually capture points. There's, by the way, a cutoff been taken here. So the Germans they managed to get their hands onto this point temporarily, which means that for the time being, this entire sector is not connected to the base of the Americans and doesn't produce any resources. So right now, very dire resource situation, but that's going to be rectified in just a minute. Force is overwhelming. Usually machine guns are very good at keeping infantry at bay, but that was just too much. Too much Daka coming out here. Now the Panzer II Lux is back on the field. Hasn't done much just yet. It has found 0 kills. That's an unlucky tank. Well, that's gonna be its first one. But it is done lots of health damage. As you can see here, the veterancy bar is starting to fill up. Ooh, another flank on the machine gun. So this opens up the map for the for Crossfire, who can now go ahead and reclaim the east. Man, yeah, Company of Heroes 2 is such a different beast. It's just constant action. Oh my lord, a Panzerwerfer. Oh, it's a Stuka, sorry. Stuka zu Fuß. Whiffs completely, however. Nope. On the tail end, it gets the Pack Howitzer. That was, I think, kind of lucky, to be honest. Those rockets were... There's very much RNG in Company of Heroes 2. We'll get into that in later casts, probably. Another gun crew got wiped out as well. Where? Okay, at least the ambush survived. Oh! The M1 anti-tank gun also got capped on the tail end of this, so... Yeah, starting to look a bit dire for the Americans. Ooh, he's gonna lose his M1. That is so nasty. Anti-tank grenade goes off now. Now, vehicles are kind of... Oh, that's gonna be a dead squad for sure. No way. Gets around the corner of the house. Lucky. Lucky son of a gun here. Yeah, but Crossfire has been bleeding hard. He's been on the receiving end this game thus far. Rear echelon probably gonna try and nick the anti-tank gun. Yeah. Now needs to rotate. One shot and the Panzer II is toast. But the DPS is too much. No way. Wait, is the machine gun gonna be able to finish it off? No, Panzer II survives again. That is one legendary Panzer II Lux here. Damn, son. Impressive. Okay, has everything stabilized? There's a frontline drop of another 50 cal. Honestly, there's a lot of 50 cals out for Aerofield already. Maybe a bit of an over-reliance on team weapons, especially if your opponent already has indirect fire pieces, because those are basically the hard counter to team weapons. If you fire dead center into the middle of this, you're gonna wipe half the army. Man, those Pathfinders are looking so good. I've never seen them so strong in a game before. Uh-oh. Where's it taking the shot? Right about here. Oh! Lucky. Jeez, this Stuka zu Fuß could have gone terribly south for Crossfire. So, the upgrades have started to appear on Yeah, MG42 upgrades have started to appear on Scotch's forces. That means that they're gonna be way stronger bang for buck. And this Stuka, I mean, it's in harm's way. It could get dove by an infantry unit advancing. Something I want to note is right now, the allied players haven't gone for much vehicle action. There is one M15 half-track, and that's it. Because the ambulance is not really a combat vehicle, that is something that's just mandatory. So vehicles cost you a premium resource that is fuel. Fuel is only used for vehicles and for some global upgrades. Plus for some buildings, like for example the Schwerer Panzer HQ here. Yeah, teching also requires lots of fuel. It's not used, generally not used for infantry. So fuel is a premium resource and you wanna hold on to fuel points as much as possible. On most maps there is 1 or maximum 2 fuel points. Ooh. Anti-tank gun starting to lay shots into the... And it's dead. M15, snap, gone in the snap of a finger. There is a retreat coming down, fallback here on the MG. So this side of the map is open to the American player again. Aerofield, Crossfire is going to be able to advance here into the east. Yeah, and this east has been held for a considerable amount of time by Van Asten. Man, that Lux is looking so good. To be fair, there hasn't been a real hard counter on the field. There was one anti-tank gun that got nicked. Or it got, I think it got wiped. Or I think it just got straight up destroyed. Oh, there's the danger close Stuka barrage. Where's it going? Oh my goodness! Oh, make it stop! My lord. That caught the entire infantry blob moving out. That is gonna mean so many resources and so much healing necessary for Crossfire. Man, what a... that timing, I swear. That was really well played by Van Asten. He just knew that the entire forces were back at base. Right, yeah, that's 12 kills right out the gate. That's a pretty good run, I'd say. And also Crossfire is flatlining on manpower, as you can see in the bottom side. He's not gonna be able to replenish his forces for a while. Ah, but he's got his first Sherman out. That's the first medium tank that we've seen thus far. So Tier 4 is also purchased for the American players now, at least for one of them. Anti-tank gun is waiting in ambush though. Well, already taken a bite out of the Sherman. And medium tanks play a very vital role. They're just good all-rounders. They're good for soaking up damage, they're good for dishing out some moderate damage against infantry, also against some armored vehicles. Yeah, just all around a solid bruiser unit is what I would describe them as. The Pack Howitzer is starting to chip some fire in here. And those, yeah. German units generally tend to be much more durable than at least their Soviet counterparts. But one could also argue that the American units are kind of fragile. Americans make up for it by, whenever they tech, they gain an officer. They gain like, one of their techs unlocks a, let me see, that's the captain, and the other tech unlocks the major. Yeah, both of those tech units are here, so you just naturally tech up and you automatically gain squads from it. And especially the captain, he can purchase, what's it? Browning automatic rifles. So that's a potent combat squad. That kind of makes up for the lack of durability in most American units. Alright, this time it was Van Asten pushed out. So all his forces just rerouting back. Panzer 4, Panzer 2 Fuchs. Lux is still running around here. Fuchs got there. Yeah, the Lux is still lurking. Just as a Lux is supposed to do. The Sherman took an anti-tank mine to the face. Yikes. Or a Panzerfaust. So that's also a vital role in, also plays a vital role in Company of Heroes. 2 is mines. Vehicles can sometimes appear unstoppable, especially if we don't have anything prepared in time. And they can just dive you. The way to counteract this, ooh, stun nade here. The way to counteract this is with mines. You spread out mines, and you try to just efficiently damage it while also applying a critical vehicle hit, which means that the vehicle is going to be slowed by, I think, like 50%. There is a tank destroyer now. Oh. Okay. This barrage was a complete whiff, fortunately. Luckily for TR crossfire. He didn't want to get caught in that sort of crossfire again, because that wasn't pretty the first round. This time it was better. So the M36 Jackson tank destroyer. Tank destroyers have a very specific profile. They are good against tanks and tanks only. Very high range, very low rate of fire, very high damage per shot, and very, very flimsy. Die to, I think, 2 or 3 anti-tank emplacement shots. Or anti-tank weapon team shots. So very specialized, but if you can keep them alive and get them to rank 3, they are monsters. Straight up. And that Lux has found so much value for itself. It's on Veterancy 3 already. And I think... yeah. So Van Asten is playing as Oberkommando West. No, sorry, as Ostheer. And Ostheer have a very specific trait. All other factions can get their units up to 3 stars of Veterancy. Not Oberkommando... not Ostheer. Ostheer can get up to Vet 5 with their units, and they just get progressively stronger and stronger. Yeah, in the late game, if you can manage to keep them alive, Ostheer units are a force to be reckoned with. Definitely one of the most lethal combinations of units. Alright, here we see the pin mechanic being applied. Those American forces, the riflemen, are being hung out to dry. They're just sitting here, taking fire. But lots of damage on the Raketenwerfer as well. On this side of the map, a Sturmpanzer Brombeer has been purchased. That thing is not a real tank. It's more like a rocket melee artillery, if that makes sense. Doesn't make sense? Nope, but the Germans built it anyway. Like, I think the real World War II, there've been like 5 or 6 of those throughout the entirety of World War II, but Company of Heroes, they're a staple unit. So what they do, they lob enormous rocket shells at any emplacement or infantry. My goodness, the sniper is still alive. How many kills? 37? Did I count that right? 37 skulls busted. That is brutal. Ah, you can't select them while they're retreating. I'm just learning as an observer, by the way. Oh, that's a nicely set up machine gun. This just denies access to the entirety of the eastern flank here. So the eastern flank has definitely swung here, and is now firmly in the hands of TR Crossfire and Aerofield. So now we can start talking about commanders, now that things have wound down just a little bit. What are commanders? You pick a loadout of 3 commanders before the game starts. You cannot change them during the game. And then you pick between 3. Between 1 of 3. You can only choose 1. And that one commander is gonna define and transform your game, if you pick the right one. There's also a couple trash commanders. Commanders are arguably slightly pay to win, because you don't have all the commanders unlocked by default. You have to purchase them with in-game currency or with real money, and grinding them with in-game currency takes forever. Slightly pay to win, but at the same rate, they just keep the game fresh as well, because there are many really cool commanders that allow you to transform the game. Crossfire has immediately gone and picked the, what's that, Airborne Company right out the gate at minute 1. That's why we had Pathfinders. So they give you access to 5 different abilities, and depending on which commander you pick, those different abilities, they come in completely different shapes, forms and sizes. Veterancy 4 on the Panzer II, by the way. The Brombeer is overrunning, trying to find the connection on the anti-tank gun. But there is a tank destroyer here. So here... Wait, the Sherman went down. Yikes. Oh! Oh no! There's double Raketenwerfers here. Ooh. On death's door is the Sherman. Sorry, the Jackson. No way. RNGesus. Sometimes RNGesus gives, and sometimes RNGesus takes. And he straight up took some names here. Alright, at least the Raketenwerfer gets capped at the tail end of this. Wow, what a swing. So, yeah. That was just rocket artillery to the face of a severely wounded Sherman, or Jackson, which is gonna spell doom for the southern front. This machine gun taking a lot of fire as well, sustaining A lot of pressure, ultimately being forced to back out. Man, I'm seeing Crossfire suffer here. Seeing himself very hard. On the other side, oh, there's also been a Panther purchased. Now the Panther is a really weird tank because it's a mixture between a medium and a heavy. And I've never seen it do too well. Unlike most of the other German tanks, which are just better bang for buck. The Panther is mostly specialized in tank-v-tank combat. Oh, there's double Panther now, alright. Now we're cooking, I guess. So this composition is starting to shift more towards vehicles. I haven't noticed, yeah, I didn't pay much attention to the eastern fronts, to the western fronts, but Scotch is definitely one suffering. Scotch is down to 3 squads, an anti-tank gun, his Panther, and the Bomber. He's lost his entire, he's lost the sniper, he's lost his regular Grens. Damn, he's been suffering hard. But the Panther is a the Panther is a weird damage profile, where it doesn't do all that much versus infantry. It has very small AoE. It's good versus tanks, don't get me wrong. It's also very well armored, but it's not better than a tank destroyer. So it's in a weird spot in my opinion. One of the weaker German forces tanks. Bang for buck. Unless there have been some balance changes, because this game is very actively under development. So there's gonna be lots of balance changes coming in every now and then. Every 1 or 2 months there's another patch, which is pretty cool. I really like that the dynamics keep shifting. Tides are turning. Speaking of turning tides, is it looking... Yeah, it's starting to look pretty solid for the southern team now. Crossfire and Aerofield have started to establish themselves on this side of the map. They're capping the machine guns. Man, double... Those are those plays that only players who really know what they're doing can perform, because I always, as soon as I see a machine gun laying into my infantry, I press the retreat button. But those guys, yeah, they know when to stop and when to push it. Alright, machine gun gets set up again. It's very low already. Yeah, retreat is called down. There's another... Ooh, that guy's caught, and also there have been rear echelon upgraded with bazookas, so those guys are now somewhat potent anti-tank resources. Yeah, Vet 5 Lux goes down. On the other side of the map, there is some sort of overwatch being called in. That's the light artillery barrage, okay. So now we... Oh, so much to unpack. Now it's time to talk about the commander support powers. Some of them allow you to call in a squad for a price. Others allow you just passive abilities on your units. And then there's the third type that are call-ins. Oh, wow! It must also have been a call-in. Plus the Panther is super low now. Back to repairs it is. Back to square one for the entire German forces. And the Americans are definitely in the resurgence here. Yeah, they're capturing the anti-tank, Raketen anti-tank launcher. Raketenwerfers are unique because they're the only anti-tank squad that can retreat, that has the retreat button. All the others have to manually be ordered back, and they don't, like, if that happens, they don't have a damage modifier, like they don't get tank gear. Oof, okay, everything is winding down. So let's check what the abilities are. Scotch has chosen Jäger Infantry Doctrine, that has ambush training. Jäger Light Infantry upgrade. Ah, that adds 2 G43 rifles. Pretty cool. Jäger Command Squads, those are pretty good. Light Artillery Barrage. I think that's the one that misses a lot. And the Stuka Close Air Support. The Sturzkampfflugzeuge, those are scary. Yeah, shooting with 37mm cannons. And that lasts for quite a while. And if you know Company of Heroes, there's always a range indicator on those abilities, and the range indicator is never accurate. It's always way larger. The area of effect is always larger than it appears. Oh. Jackson taking a pummeling again. But that's a very wounded Sturmpanzer. Trying to find the connection on the anti-tank gun? Nope. Double Jackson. I like that. That is a very smart choice against an opponent who has invested a lot into fuel units. And it's gonna be fodder for... Like, the Panther is gonna be fodder for double anti-tank. So micromanagement of tanks is also something that is very, very important. In Company of Heroes 2, there is frontal armor and rear armor. And frontal armor is, especially for the German tanks, they have got very impervious frontal armor. It's very hard to penetrate with a shot directly from the front, but from the backside, the chances are way higher. So if you manage to flank your way around an opponent, that's, yeah, and so the trick is to always keep your tank facing towards the enemy. Never get flanked. It's that easy, right? That's kind of Company of Heroes 101. On this side, the Major. Oh wow, it's up to 3 stars. The Major is a support squad. It doesn't do much damage by itself. Like, ooh, gun crew got shot to pieces here. The Major himself doesn't have combat, like any combat prowess himself. But he has really annoying abilities. He's got the fake rapid barrage that just drops a signal flare. And if you've played Company of Heroes long enough, you know signal flares do spell trouble. It's just the way it is. You see a signal flare, you get the hell out of dodge. You never know what's coming. It could be like a... yeah, it could be a 120mm artillery barrage. You don't want to be in the way of that. So, the Mayor can just be super annoying. He just drops those flares. And you're like, yep, time to retreat. Improved recon flag, that's a super important one. Line of sight is so important in Company of Heroes, and it's dynamic. So, if we go into the vision of Crossfire here, let's take a look. For example, those trees block the line of sight for all those units here, right? So that's how it works. We're gonna unpack the Fog of War again. All right. There has been another Stuka zu Fuß barrage, laying into the army, not getting too much, getting an anti-tank gun, getting the Raketenwerfer. But still, that allows Van Asten to push out. Ooh, there's been another run called. That run is taking a chunk out of the Jacksons. Both of them on super low health. Yeah, you see the range on those barrages is so high, and those loiters and strafes, they have always got crazy AoE. Support weapon setup is very nice here. Is there still... yeah, there's still a pack howitzer. Needs to target right here. Sorry, the door just slammed from the wind. Hope that wasn't audible too loudly. Panther is coming very deep. That is almost on the doorstep of the base. Oh, okay, that has prompted the march of the Jacksons. I think they might be able to get this now. Ooh, one of the Jacksons going down. I think he needs to trade. He needs to run the gambit here. Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's diving. No, no. Decides against it. Man, that was a good shot. He had the wounded Jackson first. The full health one was behind that, so he took a lot of damage. There is another plane. Is that the loiter plane again? Yeah, I think so. Artillery flares have been used. Ah, that's a P-47 rocket strafe. 240 munitions. That is a late game support power if I've ever seen one. Jeez Louise. Jackson is trying to duel it out with the Panther, and honestly the Panther is diving a bit too deep here. But he's getting it. There's been another strafe called down. I think that should, yeah. That should, for all intents and purposes, be paid. My goodness, yeah. There it goes. Another Sherman. Oh, Jackson, goddammit. Like the third Jackson that has been called in. What a brutal game. Savage. Oh, this is another Stuka zu Fuß, because this one only has 4 kills. Lining it up now. Alright. Rocket run. Where is it going? Somewhere here. Going into the main base, but not finding anything. Nope, the infantry were already out of harm's way. And this machine gun is hung out to dry, being overrun from all sides. But as you can see, retreat is a very strong mechanic. Oh, can they drop the gunner? Nope, they can't. And here is the Schwere Panzer HQ that has a flak cannon on top and thus basically suppresses infantry. Also pretty good against light armor. Alright, finally, Crossfire is able to access the east of the map again. On the western flank, we're seeing double Jacksons again. How does he have so much fuel? Okay, that was another shot from... Oh, that was the Panther. Jacksons haven't been looking too good this game, but they are. I promise, they can be really good. Wow, that was one hell of a Howie shot. A lot of health damage here. Veterancy affects every unit differently, and that's also something to keep in mind. Obersoldaten have been purchased. Okay, those are the ultimate late game infantry unit. Cost a lot to upgrade as well, but damn, they pack a punch. There's a Jackson here as well, meeting up against the Brummbär. And the Brummbär, yeah, it has a very good frontal armor. You basically can't dent it all that easily from the front. You need some serious concerted anti-armor firepower. Yeah, also Company of Heroes games traditionally can go very long. As you see here, 35 minutes deep, and we're only at the halfway point considering the victory point situation. Okay, Obersoldaten starting to apply their trade. What is that? They can booby trap points. That's basically the same as the Soviet flares. Ooh. All the infantry units out of the way, but still. Hawk Howitzer still gets shot to pieces. And that's also gonna be a dead Jackson. It got abandoned. That is also another mechanic that is very interesting. He destroys the wreckage. So an abandonment on a tank means that it can still be recaptured and repaired. It's not technically out of the game just yet. It's just, yeah, it's counted out. Not quite counted out just yet. Those Panthers have been looking a lot better than I was expecting.
The enemy has destroyed an anti-tank gun.
Oh, there's an anti-tank gun being lost. Middle, there's the forces resurging. The Park Howitzer hasn't done much to that just yet. Lots of health damage, but hasn't found many connections. Still 3 squads of Pathfinders. I think that's the original 3 from the start of the game. Impressive stuff. Obersoldaten with machine guns. Bit of a parking issue here. They're fighting over the parking spot. And that is a Panzerwerfer. That is also rocket artillery. That is what you want in team games. In 1v1s it's a bit more iffy, because if you just go for rocket artillery, your opponent is suddenly just gonna have a tank and is gonna start diving you. But in team games, you know, you've got a bit more leeway, because more than likely your teammate is gonna back you up with some solid hard AT. Double the AT guns, basically. Ooh, trying to take a shot at the ambulance. He's got enough health to do it, and the ambulance is very peculiar, because if it dies... Ooh! Rocket strafe. That did a lot of damage to the Sturmpanzer. Ooh, that's the Mayor. Don't lose the Major. He's going all in. He needs to get something. Bundle grenade, not doing much either. There's still a full health Panther in the... Oh, nice. That rocket run finishes off the Brummbär. Well, that's one less problem to deal with. But now we're also seeing TR Crossfire suffering. Those double tank destroyers still going strong, but they haven't done much. Right? No veterancy? Not the highest of veterancies, at least. The March of the Pathfinders. The Boy Scout band. Boy Scout group is doing its best to keep the Grenadiers at bay. I mean, Grenadiers now in the late game with veterancy are just better. It's the way the cookie crumbles. Plus they've got the G34 upgrades. No, MG42. Ooh, very low health. Very low health on the Obersoldaten, but they survive. And this is just rocket artillery bait. blobbing like this is always scary. Against an opponent who has double indirect fire pieces. There is a tank on the queue here for Crossfire. I think that's gonna... It's not a Jackson anyway, right? No, it might be a Jackson. It looks a bit different. Oh well, let's find out. That NG got thoroughly flanked. Yeah, it's just a Jackson. Just looked a bit weird. Yeah, American vehicles have a very interesting mechanic. Uh-oh. Danger close, Stuka Barrage. It's trying to get out of there. Oh, one of the squads is suffering. I think the smoke prevents the line of sight. Yeah, lucky. Lucky. That was just inches off of going terribly south. Still, Veteran C2 and 26 kills now on the Stuka zu Fuß. It was just 4, like 10 minutes ago. Yikers. Middle of the map, we're seeing the Obers going to town again. Yeah, they just... There's no contest. Obers in the late game with Veteran C, they just cut down enemy squads. I don't think... Ooh, that's a nice grenade on the retreat as well, but again, the house saves these riflemen. That was another grenade package here. That's the infiltration grenade package, okay. Anti-tank gun plus and Jackson say no, entrance denied to the Panther. But in comes the AT resources of Mr. Van Asten. How's the fuel situation looking like? Van Asten has nothing left. He is building a second Stuka zu Fuß. That is spicy, but this composition is very scary against stationary weapons, but it can fall apart super easily. If anything ever goes wrong, one engagement gone wrong, your opponent can suddenly just dive onto your very fragile Stuka zu Fuß. There's another barrage. Again, doing... Okay, that is doing a lot of damage. More than I remember. Even to the Jackson, even the Jackson is just suffering. By the hands of the Stuka. Stuka im Anflug, yeah. That's pretty rough. So much indirect firepower, my lord. In goes the Panzerwerfer, that is firing probably, yeah, on the assault, on the Pathfinder assault. But in my experience, I don't have any real experience or stats to back it up, but in my general experience with the game, the Panzerwerfer is never as scary as the Stuka zu Fuß. Not sure if that's correct, it's just the way it feels to me. Panther taking a dive again, very aggressive going forward, running into what I would say is a metric fuckton of rifles, that's the scientific term, and gets decrewed. We have lost the pack gun. Oh, these accents are just so cheesy. Ooh, lots of damage from the Brombeer. Brombeer has been repurchased, huh? Wait, was that a counter barrage? No. That was just a Stuka here, but missed because it didn't get any kills whatsoever. There's still some AT gun in range, yeah. M1 is in range here. Double Pioneers have been purchased, so it appears to be that Scotch is scrambling for a proper infantry army. If you go for double Pioneers in the late game, like double builder units, that just means either you're trying really hard to repair your tanks, or you're very desperate to get some boots on the ground. MG team going down as well. We have lost the MG team. Those accents are totally accurate, Kappa Pride. It's a bit too German for my taste. Alright, in goes the Stuka again. Oh, decrewing one outright, and the other one is taking significant damage, but now there's, yeah, triple Jacksons in the middle. How do you go about breaking this, seriously? Another barrage. Just putting it out there. They have done almost as much damage to the tanks as they have to infantry. Okay, so that's the typical late game army now. Ooh, one of the Pathfinders went down. One of the squads, that is. The typical late game army where vehicles become more and more prevalent because they're easier to keep alive. And infantry are still very much needed because... Ooh, anti-tank gun connecting, or anti-tank grenade connecting, because you need them on the ground to capture points. Vehicles don't capture points unless you're American and very sure that there is no enemy units nearby, because Americans can hop out of their vehicles. All the others just haven't invented hatches yet in Company of Heroes 2. I don't know. Don't know what it is really. Like, you should take a page out of the American book. The American instruction manual that says how to build hatches. The other factions just fuse their people into, like, they weld them shut into the vehicles. I don't know. I don't know what the general idea here is. But yeah, Americans, bottom line, they can be super useful because they can just hop out of their vehicle crew, can hop out of the tank, and it allows them to repair the tank themselves. And it also allows them to capture points if need be, but that's usually not a smart choice, because if an opponent is nearby and you're just inattentive for a second, they can steal your tank. Oh, a howitzer motor carriage has been purchased. That is not really an answer to the indirect fire pieces, because it is just... that is chip damage. That is not a burst murder you all carpet bombing. That is just chip damage. Lobbing a shell here and there. So definitely not a counterpart to the scary Panzerwerfers and Stukas. Another rifleman push out in the middle. Yeah, we're gonna get into the finer details. Ooh, this might be on the chopping block. No, surviving for the time being, lucky. Yeah, we're gonna get into the more technical details and aspects of the game and gameplay and the unit balancing in some of the later casts. This is just gonna be the first one. This is already a hell of a game, not gonna lie. There is no anti-tank in the middle, save this one right here. Alright, that is all the Jacksons getting a bit brave. There's nothing here, no targets. 4 Jacksons? Is he just preparing for a dive? Is this gonna be a dive on the rocket pieces? Might as well be, huh? I think if they use the Major now, is the Major still alive? He is. The Major recon run could give them all the intel, and then kill this pack gun here. This pack gun is the only thing preventing a dive onto the rocket artillery. Because everything else is concentrated in the east. Ooh, also there is a Panther, a stray Panther here, knocking at the front door. So again, the pendulum has swung. Looking very good for the Axis forces now. Good shot though, good shot. And that is the Obers getting very low. One more direct hit from the artillery. No. We lost a gun crew. And in comes the rocket artillery. That is exactly why this is dangerous. Don't try this at home. Lobbing is a very dangerous proposition. Both the anti-tank guns and the 50 cal decrewed right now. Oh, the anti-tank gun getting off a shot, but being overrun. Look, 4 squads of Grens. What you gonna do when they come for you? Gren boys, Gren boys. Ah, they're all being suppressed. Thank God for this. There was 1 machine gun here. 1 brave machine gun. This should be a dead squad. 1 dead grenadier squad on the tail end. Oh, okay, that was just a fighting position and the pack Howie. But weapon teams can always be recruited. That's never a big deal. As long as the weapon itself survives. Yeah, Panther, very durable. That is one of their prime selling points, is that they're just so durable. We are 48 minutes deep. I did not expect this. I have a little baby girl, and my girlfriend are next door, and they're eagerly awaiting this cast to finish. But I think we're still going to be here a while. Because usually I'm casting open array, and games there tend to last between 15 minutes and half an hour, sometimes 40 minutes, but we're 50 minutes deep, and this is nowhere near the end just yet. Ooh. Oh my goodness! Stuka survives on a sliver of health. And now there's the Schwerpanzer HQ taking it. Like, Schwerpanzer HQ has a flak cannon, so it just disembowels air units. And Panzerwerfer is lining up again. Barrage is ready. Axis forces really have gone for some indirect firepower this game. This is the most amount of indirect firepower I've seen in a long time in game. Howitzer motor carriage has not done its fair share yet. It hasn't paid off just yet. Killed 4 infantry. Okay, I mean, it's a way to dump munitions, I guess. Scotch is still in an okay spot. He's got the Panzerwerfer, he's got the Sturmpanzer, and he's got the Panther. On the other side, the Jackson's gotten very low, but they're still alive. And 3 Jacksons here for Airfield, like, he's not messing around. He knows he needs to win the anti-tank wars. But this is the centerpiece, this is the linchpin. If this falls, this anti-tank gun, then that opens the floodgates. I think Pathfinders are stealth in cover. So as long as they're staying here, in the yellow cover, they're gonna be Gucci. Another rocket run. Whiffing this time around. Yeah. 50 cal survives. That's big. Pack is being relocated. And the Allied forces are still holding 2 out of 3 victory points. That is gonna be long-term victory point condition. Win condition, sorry. Oh my goodness, one of them got gipped immediately. The second one is down as well. That was a nasty hit. Scott motor carriage is trying to deal with the anti-tank gun and with the MG team at the same time. It's gonna be a bit of a tall order. There's an airstrike being called in again. Ooh, one of the Jacksons got downed. As soon as this thing gets line of sight, it's just gonna murder light vehicles. And all of those are not super durable. Jacksons are, I wouldn't necessarily say light vehicles, but for all intents and purposes, they are not medium tanks. Medium tanks, they are not. Clumped up, just how the Sturmpanzer likes them. Okay, Pendulum is starting to swing again. Resurgence of Axis forces. Sturmpanzers have looked good this game, all 2 of them. Motor carriage trying to do with Sturmpanzer, good luck here. Oh, that's a very far forward Panzerwerfer. Oh. Is it gonna hit? Oh no. Oh no. Poor Cross for fire. He is battered and bruised. He is down to literally 1 squad, and that's the captain. And down goes the Jackson as well. It's starting to come apart at the seams. Yikes. And the Panther gets out alive. Really? Yellow Crossfire is, for all intents and purposes, out of the game. He's down to double... yeah. Surrender. That was probably the right call. Jeez, what a game. This has been savage from start to finish. So, thoroughly enjoyable, and it ended sooner than I expected towards the tail end. It ramped up quite a lot, yeah. In the end, the ultimate decider and what turned the tables was just the indirect firepower control. There was never a way for the Allies to access those indirect fire pieces, and look, a combined, what? 37 on the Panzerwerfer. Oh, that's just a flak truck. Where is that Stuka zu Fuß? Only 6, okay, so there's one that got lost, but 2 indirect fire pieces died altogether, but they had like a combined 60-70 kills. And that's what swung the tide. That honestly was why they could never get a hold of those tanks. They were never able to finish off the Panther. And Panthers by themselves are not that great, but here they've been used in really nice combination in conjunction with the indirect fire pieces. Yeah, really well played bow players. Shout out to Scotch and Van Asten for persevering. They've been very sturdy and holding the line. Awesome first game. There's going to be more Company of Heroes where that one's coming from. So if you guys are interested in my channel, guys and girls, go watch the other videos. I usually have Red Alert or Open Array, Red Alert and Tiberian Dawn videos up there, but also some crazy mods. Yeah, and Open Array is also a great project. It is the design philosophy is a bit simpler. It's not as complex as Company of Heroes, but it is an amazing and both accessible and competitive RTS. It is amazing in its own right. as is Company of Heroes. Different direction, different flavor, you know. It's macadamia nut versus there's definitely no vanilla in there. Macadamia nut versus hazelnut, I'd say. Both really good flavors in their own rights, but different. So yeah, check out the rest of the channel, and there's going to be more Company of Heroes as well. For those watching for the Red Alert content, there's definitely not going to be a drought of that as well. We're going to maintain our status with at least 1 cast per week, plus maybe a Company of Heroes 2 cast here and there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. 5 Aces out.